Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. Devotees of Bhagavan again this morning. For those of you who are joining us, we're grateful to have you on. We hope and pray that your presence in satsang today with us will again assist you to make a very sizable deposit, a spiritual deposit into that spiritual bank account of yours. See, the difference with this bank account is that it's the only one that we get to keep forever. The rest of them, it doesn't matter if it has $1 or $1 billion, we'll leave it right here. When we make deposits into our spiritual bank account, you see, because we are eternal beings, or spiritual beings. Spiritual means eternal. But we're having a human experience right now. We're not necessarily human beings with a spiritual experience, but the other way around. Spirituality means that which should be recognized and treated as that which is eternal. And so the satsang affords us the opportunity to always deposit on a most frequent basis. In as much as human beings would like to deposit into our financial bank accounts, and hopefully that everyone is able to do that so that everyone can be comfortable. But we should never tip the scale on the other side, meaning only that is important in life. We should always realize that when we make these deposits, these spiritual deposits, what we're causing the soul to be happy. And when the soul is happy, it will move at some point in time from a jiva to atma, meaning jiva is this individual soul that we have. We can merge it with Bhagavan when we give up this body, but during this life, if you recognize our true nature, then that is when a human being is really put in a position where you can enjoy what is called real happiness. Not momentary, not fleeting, but real. See, if happiness is real, it cannot be momentary. Like when we eat chocolate and we're happy for 2 minutes, and then we go back into the same state of mind. If we were depressed, we become depressed again. Or sometimes if we're diabetic, we start worrying about we just had too much chocolate. Happiness that we get from our spiritual recognition and operating at such a frequency, that happiness will be constant. Every other type of happiness will be momentary. So while we enjoy that, let us also ensure that we're securing our full-time happiness. So today, very briefly, we don't want to go into too much details here in this satsang. We read Bhagavad Gita. Over the past month or so, or 5-6 weeks, we haven't been reading Gita because there's been so much going on. There have been many occasions, many kathas we read. The last 6 weeks we read katha. I hope you can remember them. Like we said, katha is meant to, katha literally means story, but the stories are designed to help you to remember. And why do you remember? Anyone can remember a story, right? Stories are easy to remember. That is proven scientifically. That is why the saints and sages, Vyasji knew this 5,000 years ago. And so all our philosophy put in katha form, like a story, so we can remember that story. When we remember it, it helps us. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. As human beings, our goal is to be able to remember Bhagavan constantly. When we remember Him, we become happy in this life and in the hereafter. Everything, all the hundreds of forms of bhakti, then 9 forms of bhakti, then 3 forms of bhakti, they're all designed to attain one form of bhakti, which is smaran bhav, to remember. Even Kirtan Bhakti, even Shravan Bhakti, chanting and listening, they're all designed to attain Smaran Bhakti. Remember, this is philosophy. This is what all our scriptures say. Whether you understand something else or know something, it doesn't matter. The facts are the facts. And the scriptures say the idea is to remember. So we've been reading from Bhagavad Gita, and so in a few days from now, on the 25th, will be Gita Jayanti. Gita Jayanti means when Gita was given, not only to Arjun in the battlefield Kurukshetra, but when Gita was given to the entire world through Arjun, for all of us. So I'll just mention a few points about Bhagavad Gita, not elaborate, because I also want to tell you about a wedding, you know. Did you hear about the wedding? You probably don't. You didn't, right? Don't worry, I'm not getting married, so don't get too worried. There was only one crazy person in the world. There's none more. So, whether you know what that means or not. So I'm going to tell you about a wedding briefly, but hear about Bhagavad Gita. Gita is called, Gita means a song. Bhagavad, Bhag here, Bhag means Bhagavan. What is a termination that means full of. So Bhagavad Gita means that, Gita means song, from Geet. So the song that is filled with divinity, Bhagavad. Like when you have Bhagavad Prapti, you attain God. Bhagavad Gita is that which is filled with divinity, filled with bhakti, filled with gyan, filled with information for karma, etc. We know gyan we call it Jnana Yoga. Gita has Bhakti Yoga from chapter 7 to 12, Bhakti Yoga. We also have Karma Yoga. So these are all the things Bhagavad Gita can teach us. And as you know, that Gita is found in the Bhishma part of Mahabharata. This is the sixth part of Mahabharata, from chapter 25 to chapters 42. In Bhishma Parva, we will find Bhagavad Gita there. However, we may know that, that happened 5,000 years ago. Those of you who have gone to Kurukshetra can still go to the spot where there's a peepal tree now. You can still go to the spot where Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjun. The spot is marked and is protected. We will know that Bhagavad Gita is not only 5,000 years old, even though it was given to Arjun 5,000 years ago. We'll touch on that briefly, but Bhagavad Gita can give so many things at different levels of life, in different aspects of life, in different categories of life. Brahma Vidya, Brahma Valli. There's a beautiful Gita Ganga Cha Gayatri Sita Satya Saraswati. The verse says, Brahma Vidya, Brahma Valli Tri Sandhya Mukta Gayani. Brahma Vidya means the highest knowledge. Brahma Vidya, the knowledge by which we can attain God. If we follow Bhagavad Gita, we'll get Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya will let us know what is real from what is unreal and help us. It's actually the science of God realization for spiritual aspirants especially. We would also know that Gita is one of the most popular and well-read books in the world today, or books of wisdom rather. And that also in the history of humankind. Why in the history of humankind? Because Gita is non-sectarian. When you read it, you will find out it's non-sectarian. Also, it's translated in so many different languages. Almost 100 different languages, so many people can benefit from it. Gita has been able to influence many, many lives of great men. Not only just ordinary folks like, you and I, people who have made a difference in the world, like Thoreau. Henry Thoreau was a 19th century American poet. What did he say about Bhagavad Gita? He said, in the morning, I bathe my intellect in the stupendous philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Every morning, he reads Bhagavad Gita before he goes out doing his work. He bathes his intellect. Renew your intellect with that which has Brahma Vidya, the highest knowledge. Huxley, same thing. So many of these great men in the world, we can go on quoting many of them, but Huxley also, a 20th century English philosopher, who said that the Gita is the most systematic statement of spiritual evolution. The most systematic statement of spiritual evolution of endowing value to mankind. We can think of so many, but the one that we all know, I think, is the one from the great Gandhi, Mahatma. Mahatma is not his name, right? Mahatma means great, in short. So Mahatma Gandhi says that when disappointment stares me in the face and I see not one ray of light, I turn to the Bhagavad Gita, I find a verse here and I find a verse there. And these verses comfort me. And immediately I begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. Gandhi had a difficult time when he was trying to liberate India. Whenever that happens, he turns to Bhagavad Gita and he finds an answer for everything. That is why Gita was called Amba. It's called Amba. Amba, many people, like how we say Ma, people say Amma, Amba. People call mother in many different ways, in different languages. Amba tvam anusandadami bhagavad gita bhavadeshinim. Gita Dhyanam says, Amba tvam. Tvam means you, that you are our mother. Why? Because Gita provides an answer. It gives a way in life, or a way to live life easily, without troubles. In the same way that Bhagavan Krishna helped Arjuna to understand. When Arjuna was troubled, Bhagavan helped him, Sri Krishna helped him via Bhagavad Gita, or what is now known as Gita, to realize that Arjuna, that you are much, much more powerful than what you're going through right now. Don't be dejected. That these challenges are smaller than you. You're much greater than these challenges. Arjuna's problem, he could not find that out because Arjuna was looking for answers. He's looking for spiritual insight and answers. Wherever he could have gotten them from not realizing that the answer is spirituality, that God is standing right in front of him in the form of Krishna. Many of us do that in life. We search all over the place for Bhagavan. We search all over the place for God. We go to different temples, different holy places. And yet we can't find Bhagavan. Why? Because charity starts at home. Bhagavan, mamaivancho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Bhagavan tells Arjuna, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshi Arjun tishtati. I live here in the area of the heart. If we can't find him there, bhaiya, we ain't going to find him anywhere else. Nowhere. Don't even look. If you find him there, you'll find him everywhere else. It's like happiness. When you look for happiness for others, you find it first for yourself. Look for Bhagavan inside, and then you'll find him everywhere. And that's what Arjuna said. That's what Hanumanji said. And wherever he looks, he sees Sitaram. Siya Ram mai sab jag jani. In everything he sees Bhagavan. Why? Because he found him in first here. You remember that Katha? When he was challenged, you said Bhagavan is in your heart, let us see it. And then he showed everybody. That's why he could have seen Bhagavan. Don't go to, don't look for Bhagavan in places. Look for him inside. That is what Arjuna wasn't doing. And so here Bhagavad Gita gives us a guidance for life. Especially, God-seeking spiritualists who are looking for answers. Gita will provide an answer for every single situation. Unfortunately, many Hindus think, it sounds strange to some Hindus when I tell them, but I've seen it, I've heard it, that we only read Gita when someone dies. That's what Gita has boiled down to. It's unfortunate. I've also seen people taking a copy of the Bhagavad Gita and putting it in the coffin of the deceased. No disrespect to your family who has died, but why are you doing that? What is the Bhagavad Gita going to do for the person who has died? It's too late. Don't burn the Gita. Read it. It's not made to be burned. It's made to be read. And the person who was left can't read it. So read it while you're alive. So there will be no need to take one with you. You can't take it with you. You'll take it on the inside. Whatever you would have read when you're alive, that you'll take with you even though the body is burnt. We have to try and understand the philosophy a little bit more. So Sri Krishna here is helping Arjuna with what he is going through and telling him that these challenges are smaller than him and that I'm here to help you. Gita helps all kinds of people. Whether you're a sportsman, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're a politician, whatever you are. There's a politician in America called Tulsi Gabbard, who's a Hindu. And recently she gave a commencement speech and said that when one reads the Bhagavad Gita, especially in these chaotic times, one can find certainty, one finds strength and peace in Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is known as the pendant jewel. On your chain you have a pendant. That's like the most important, most recognized part of the chain. That is what Bhagavad Gita is called. Gita sugita kartabhya kimanyai sastra vistavai. Padma Puran, this is Gita Mahatmya, that says one need to attentively and regularly hear Bhagavad Gita because it has the essence of Vedic knowledge in it. And especially Mukha Padmadvani Shrita, that especially because Gita has come from the mouth of Bhagavan, not from just anywhere. From the mouth of the lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord. And also because it has a strong fidelity to Ved, to the Vedas. Like I said to you that the Bhagavad Gita is not only 5,000 years old, but there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita that reminds us, Imam Vishvatade Yogam Prokta Svanaham Abhyayam Vishwaswan Manave Praha Manushrikva Kave Bravit. Chapter 4 verse 1 Bhagavad Gita says that in the beginning Krishna is saying, I gave this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to the son, S-U-N. And the son gave it to his son, which is Manu. Manu meaning the first man, the original progenitor of mankind. And Manu gave it to his son Ishvaku. That's what is said in this Gita verse here. So Gita existed long before Krishna gave it to Arjuna. That was just a renewal of Bhagavad Gita directly from the mouth of the Lord. So Krishna states here that the knowledge which is revealing to Arjuna right now is eternal and has been passed down from gurus to disciples. And that is why Gita continues to astound people and remain relevant to our daily lives even 5,000 years after. That is why today people like wealthy people, very famous people, they're not all very peaceful people. If you're wealthy and you're famous, that doesn't mean you're peaceful and you're happy. Ask, there's this celebrity who actually used a statement, I cannot remember his name. Jim Carrey, is it Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey, yeah. Something like that. Jim Carrey, ask him. He has a quote. He says, if people believe that rich people and famous people are happy people, then come talk to me, I'll tell you what it is. That is why, Will Smith openly says that I've read Bhagavad Gita. I love the Bhagavad Gita. I read it all the time. I am immensely influenced by Bhagavad Gita. He also said that he has a very high influence of Arjun in him because he reads and understands the life of Arjun, how he's locked between decisions. And when he's in a difficult situation, he remembers the life of Arjun and influenced by Arjun. He said, my inner Arjun is being channeled, quote unquote, whenever things get difficult. So the Gita is for everyone. This is why, it's because Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Vachan. Means is the word of God. So Gita is also called Gita Shastra. Shastra meaning Gita Shastramaram Punyamyaha Pated Paryataha Puman. This is also in the Padma Puran. That the Gita encapsulates the more important or the most important aspects of Ved. That is why it is said, this verse is Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Amritam Padma Puran, Sarva Upanishado Gao. Sarva Upanishado Gao, that if all the Upanishads, the Upanishads, Ved Upanishads, 108. If all the Upanishads are cows, Gavo, then Dogda Gopalanandana, then the milker of those cows is the son. The milker of those cows is Krishna, milking all the Upanishads. Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. Partho here means Arjun. Vatsa, that if Krishna is the milker of those cows, then Arjun is the calf that's drinking that milk. Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahat. That Arjun is the calf and Dugdam Gita Amrit. The sweetness, the nectar of the Gita is for all spiritual aspirants and men of great intellect who will enjoy Bhagavad Gita. So Gita can help us in all situations in life. There are also, before we close this part of our satsang, there's also other Gitas that you may have heard of. There are many, we can't mention them all. We'll mention 2 or 3 prominent ones. You've probably heard of Uddho Gita, right? Uddho Gita is a part of the Bhagavad Mahapuran. Uddho Gita starts in Canto 11, the 6th chapter. 40th verse, there's a conversation there between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Uddho. Uddho is a Jnani, Mahagyani. There's about 1,000 verses in Bhagavad Mahapuran. It is called Uddho Gita because here again Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself, Bhagavat Vachan, Sri Krishna himself is speaking. This is why it's called Gita, the song divine. I'm sure you've also heard of it's called Ram Gita. Why? Because again Bhagavan Sri Ram himself is speaking. This is Uttarakhand. In the 7th chapter, there's a right around Doha 42. There's a verse there that says, Ek baar Raghunath bulaye गुरु द्विज पुरवासी सब आए, एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए। गुरु द्विज पुरवासी सब आए, बैठे गुर मुनि अरु द्विज सजन। बोले बचन भगत भव भंजन, बोले बचन भगत भव भंजन। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, 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 श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए। No, Bhagavan Sri Ram was on earth for 11,000 years. एक बार, once only, he decided to speak. Speak meaning to address the residents of Ayodhya. Guru Dvija Puravasi Sabha. He invited everyone. His guru was there, the Dvijas, the Brahmins, all Puravasi, all the residents of Ayodhya. He invited all of them. And Bhagavan Sri Ram spoke. This is why this part of Ramayana is called Ram Gita. Why? Because Bhagavan Sri Ram himself is speaking here. There are some very, very famous chaupas in this part of Ramayana. We can't go over them all, but let's look at this. What does this doha say? दुख पावही सिर धुन धुने पछताए, हो रामा सिर धुन धुने पछताए। काल ही कर्म ही ईश्वर ही, काल ही कर्म ही ईश्वर ही, मिथ्या दोष लगाए। सियावर रामचंद्र जी की जय शरणम। This is one of the very important dohas. They're all important. This one is popular. Kalahi karmahi ishwarahi mitya dosha lagai. It's something that we do all the time. When difficulties strike, hardly a human being, Bhagavan Sri Ram is saying, is ready to look inside and find out where did that problem come from. We seek to solve the problem on the inside or on the outside, but the problem is on the inside. When we have a problem, we have to bring a solution to solve it. We don't look for more problems. The way we look for more problems, Bhagavan is saying, Kalahi karmahi ishwari. Kal means time. Karma means your actions. Ishwari means Bhagavan. That most willingly us as human beings, we're ready to blame everything else except ourselves. We blame Kal, Karma, and even Ishwar, even Bhagavan. It's God's fault. He's so unfair to me. What kind of God is this? Giving everybody else so much, and look at me. I pray every single day, yet I have nothing. So we do this. This is a very popular doha in Ram Gita. This is when Bhagavan Sri Ram was speaking. Many, many beautiful dohas and chaupais in Ram Gita. But there's another Gita also that is called Lakshman Gita. Lakshman Gita is also in Ramayana. So maybe people want to know, why Lakshman Gita? It's just a brother of Sri Ram. Gita means a song divine. When Bhagavan is speaking, that is Gita, right? No. Lakshman, you remember in the Katha when it says, Raghukula tilaka sacharu bhai? When there was that Akashvani, when there was that revelation that Bhagavan will come in the house of Dasharath, he didn't say, I will come alone. He didn't say, I will come and I will bring some friends with me or some associates. He said, Raghukula tilakaso charyu bhai. I will come as 4 brothers. So Lakshman, Shatrughna, Bharat, they're all divine. Bhagavan Sri Ram came as the head of that pack, as Bhagavan. But all the other brothers were incarnations, not incarnations, but manifestations of God, playing a more subtle role. So this is why when Lakshman was speaking, in a most beautiful katha that is also very, very popular, Lakshman was speaking with Nishad Raj, or we call the Kevat. You know Kevat Katha? Everybody knows Kevat Katha. It's Ayodhya Kand by Doha 91. And when Bhagavan Sri Ram was exiled, when he was going to cross the Ganga, when he had to, if you listen to the bhajan that we sing, we call the name there Sringaverapur. When Bhagavan Sri Ram reached Sringaverapur, it is still there, it's not very far, if you go to what is now called Prayagraj, used to be called Allahabad, when you go there to the Sangam, Sangam, with the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, if you ever go to India, or if you've gone there, most people when they go to Sangam, where they have Kumbh Mela, etc. Just half an hour from there it's called Sringaverapur. This is where Bhagavan Sri Ram spent the night before he could cross the Ganga, before the Keva took him across. Very popular katha. But the Keva didn't understand what was happening. He knew Bhagavan Sri Ram is the son of a king. They're from a palace. What are they doing here? How come they can sleep on the ground? They have belonged to a palace with crystal chandeliers and coffered ceilings and maid servants and name it. And now they're eating roots and fruits and sleeping on the ground. So the Keva didn't understand. He was asking Lakshman. Because he became very, very sorrowful watching Sri Ram sleep on the ground in Sringaverapur. So in this katha also, they're very, this is why it's called Lakshman Gita. Beautiful. Let's look at just one of the chaupais that's very popular. कृत कर्म भोग बहुब्राता निज कृत कर्म भोग बहुब्राता chaupai when Nishad Raj is asking asking Lakshman, why is it? Then Lakshman took the opportunity to tell Kevat, Nishad Raj, hey bhaiya, kahuna koy sukha dukha karadata, nija krita karma bhoga bahubrata. That no one is ever responsible for the suffering or for the happiness of anyone else. Nija krita karma bhoga bahubrata, that everyone creates their own happiness and their own suffering based on their own actions. That no one should ever attribute anything that happens to them in life, whether it's happiness or suffering, to another person. That is so popular today. It's so easy to always blame somebody else. But Lakshman is explaining to Nishad Raj, no, that's not how it works. Kahuna koi, sukha dukha karadata. In sukh or in dukh, it's always our own making. So that's just one chaupai from this very beautiful, there's about 10 chaupais there. This is called Lakshman Gita. There are many, many other Guru Gita, Ashtavakra Gita, many other Gita. We're not going to mention them today, but you must always remember that Bhagavad Gita is there not to worship only. You can worship it, you can do arti, you can put a flower, do what you want, the words of Bhagavan. It is more important to pick it up and read it and understand it. This is what will bring happiness, not worshipping the Gita, leaving it on a shelf. Gita is taught to all the biggest Western corporations now. They're Eastern scholars who come and teach Bhagavad Gita to, you name the company, and they've invited people to speak on Bhagavad Gita to them. Whether it's Pepsi, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, whatever, name them. They've all asked scholars of Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because not only can that Gita can lead you to God, when it is interpreted in a business fashion, it teaches you how to be a great leader. It teaches you how to be successful in business. Whatever you want to do, the Gita can help you be successful. However, successful by doing and in doing the right thing. And being successful at the same time. Not violating dharma or principles of morals or laws. This is the greatness of Gita. Malaniramocanam punsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrida gitang masi snanam sansara malanashanam. Padma Puran. Gita Mahatma said, Malaniramocanam punsam. You know mal? Mal means mud. Niramocanam punsam, that way if our body is smeared with mud, if it is dirty, what do we do? Jalasnanam. We take a bath with water. Dine dine, every day we do this to keep the body clean. However, we're lacking the other part of it. Sakrida Gitam Bhasi Stanam Sansar Malanashanam. This same mal. Sansar means world. This world is smearing so much mud upon our existence that it's creating indelible blemishes on it that we'll take with us into infinity, and it would affect our next birth. We have the opportunity now to wash that mud away. Sansara malanashana means to destroy. How do we do that? Sakrida Gitam Bhasi Snanam. Not by reading the Gita. Of course we have to read it. But by Sakrida mean applied knowledge of the Gita. When we read and understand what Gita says and then apply that knowledge to our lives, sansara malanashanam, we wash away the impurities of the world upon our existence, and then we attain true happiness. This is what the Bhagavad Gita can do for us. In the same way, jalasnanam dine dine, that we bathe with water to clean our bodies, let us also sakrita gitam vasi snanam, and it will sansara malanashanam. It's very easy. Anybody can take one verse, any verse of Bhagavad Gita, and attain Bhagavan. Each one of you probably know a verse. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami machuta. Bhagavan says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will take on all your sins for you. And I will ensure that you come to me also. So many other verses. So let's close this part here. I just want to tell you, like I said, I want to tell you about a wedding. I don't know if you went to a wedding. So we must always remember that the Gita is there to help us, to steer us. We'll be cleansed. We'll enjoy more peace in life. We'll enjoy contentment. We'll enjoy the real purpose of life. We'll be removed from the diseases that are brought upon the world onto our existence. And we'll be advanced spiritually. Because Gita has the answer to all the questions. I've told you of all the people that use Bhagavad Gita. Every point in Gita is designed to help us with difficulties in life. For example, the battlefield. Or the battle is referred to in Bhagavad Gita, in the battle with Arjuna. This battle actually takes place within. Every day, this battle takes place within. The struggle between right and wrong. The struggle between selfishness and selflessness. The struggle between anger and compassion. These fires that rage continuously within us. In the human heart. These examples of Bhagavad Gita, the chaos that Arjuna was experiencing, it mirrors the turmoil we feel within on a daily basis, and sometimes more than once every day. We have to study Bhagavad Gita and recognize Arjuna's struggle. The way Arjuna was caught between two opposing forces that we mentioned before. Reason on one side, duty on the other side. You remember Krishna is telling Arjuna to do one thing, and Arjuna is looking on the other side and he's seeing all these great people, all these family, all these teachers, all these intelligent men. But he has to fight against them if he is to listen to Krishna. So reason on one side and duty on the other side. Reason here meaning our spiritual calling. And duty here can be referred to friends and to family and to obligations. Even obligations that we consider moral obligations. That can be seen as duty. And then there's Krishna on the other side, following dharma. We're locked. We don't know what to do. We don't know what the answer is. We don't know the next move to make. These situations leave us doubtful and confused about what to do next. The mind starts racing, moves faster than the wind. This turmoil that we experience on a daily basis or that we see right outside of our window is so contagious. This is the situation Arjuna was in. Indecision was the only thing that was fixed in his heart. Uncertainty looms. However, when you're in a situation like that, like Arjuna, when you tap inside and remember Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, that Bhagavan lives there, and you ask him, you'll get the answer. Arjuna, ask Krishna. Because Krishna provides the answer, not only for Arjuna, but for all of us. That is why he gave Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and by extension, he gave it to all of us. So that we too can study Bhagavad Gita and to be happy. So I hope and pray that our interest in Gita will get stronger so that, we can become happy, regardless of what we do in life. You're a film star, you're a politician, we quoted all those people. You're an educator, whatever you are. You're Gandhi trying to liberate a whole country with non-violence. The most powerful, British Empire, you want to defeat them with non-violence. How is that even possible? Why is that even a thought? But Gandhi did, following Bhagavad Gita. Nelson Mandela followed Gandhi. Martin Luther King followed Nelson Mandela. These are all people who have been inspired by Bhagavad Gita. And they changed the world. But us, we say that is something to use when somebody dead. That's what we do. At least many of us, maybe not all of us. Oh, no, word Gita. No, it's not something you should trouble now. We have to understand Gita. Take it and read it, and you'll be inspired by Sri Krishna.